Hello everyone, welcome to my first ever Linux tutorial. Today we're going to be starting with ArchLinux. The general goal is to be able to install things like Venom Linux, which it sounds like I can create my own ISO with, or Linux from scratch, which is Linux, but you're building it from scratch. Um, but we're going to start with Arch. Arch is something I understand a little bit more, and also you need a distribution already set up for in order to create Linux from scratch, which is kind of interesting. First things on the docket is we are going to need to have Oracle VirtualBox Manager. There's other ones you can use like VMware, KVM, although if you're using KVM, I highly doubt you need to be watching this video. Maybe you could do it with Hyper-V, but I'm not sure about that. We're sticking with VirtualBox. And then we're going to need to pop over here to archlinux.org, go to the download section, scroll on down, pick your country. I am the US, United States, so I would download one from here. I'm not going to do it in this particular video, but I would click on this and the install would get started. You guys would do the exact same thing, but hit save instead of cancel. From there, we're going to come over here and we're going to click new. Give it a name. I want to give it ArchLinux YT. And then I saved mine on my desktop in what's called the Arch ISO file. It's just what I named the file, and here is my ISO. We're going to open it up, and this stuff should already kind of fill in, but if not, Linux, ArchLinux 64-bit version. Pretty simple. Skip on down to hardware. If you, so right here, 1024 megabytes is 1 gigabyte. If you click on the side, not on the cursor, but on the side, it will go up by another 1024, so 2. We're going to do this until it gets to 8 gigabytes. These are just my recommended settings. You can give it more or less. Although know that, if you give it too much, you are taking resources away from your main computer, and if you don't give it enough, you won't be able to run the system, or it may be extremely unstable. I'm going to give it 4 processors as well. I have 24 to spare, so I can easily put up with 4. I could probably even increase this to 6, but we're going to stick with 4. I'm also going to add 200 gigabytes of storage, maybe. I'm not expecting to need 200. This is just kind of more of a so I have enough. It also, I'm not going to pre-allocate the full size, so it's not like it's going to chunk off a huge section of my hard drive. I'll still have full access to that space. I'll just need to monitor, how much storage space this is creating, or how much storage space this is using, because if I do end up pushing the 200 gigabytes, chances are, if we go to my PC, well, actually, this drive, which is, I would have enough, but like if I was installing it over here, I would be quickly running out of space. So something to keep in mind, especially when you have multiple virtual boxes running. If you put 200 gigabytes on all of them, and then you max out all 200 gigabytes on all of your virtual machines, you could easily destroy some stuff. keep that in mind. This is your public service announcement. Um, yeah, and if you want to avoid that, you can pre-allocate the full size. That will, create a nice box for your stuff to live inside. Nothing in, nothing out. The only downside with that is with a lot of these machines, you're only using a couple of gigabytes, maybe a couple dozen gigabytes for storage, which means if you're chunking off a whole 200 gigabytes, there's large swaths of storage going unused. So take that how you will. I'm also anticipating all about storage and what size your hard drives are and things like that. I don't know how basic to make it, so I am kind of making it more on the basic side. I didn't want to. I guess that just kind of happened. I'm gonna shrink this down a bit. So one of the things I am very much a proponent of reading the screen. So for example, it says here for Wi-Fi, authenticate to the wireless network using IWCTL. So if I just type that in, it gives me this. But you might be sitting there like, okay, well, what do I do with that? And that's where I'm sitting here like, well, if I type help, it brings up this. Now this gives me a lot of information. In fact, most of the time, I don't need anything else past this. That being said, if you're a new user, you might be sitting there wondering, what am I supposed to do with this black screen and all this text? That's where I would head over to the wiki and I would just type in, especially if I was a new user, IWCTL. That's what I used, and it brought me here, IWCTL. And I can kind of read through here to figure out what I am looking, and it even says to list all available commands, type help. The issue with ArchLinux when you're starting is you can't scroll up. And I think there is a way, there's like a workaround, but I don't know what that is quite at the moment. So in this tutorial, we're using the browser. And we need to know, right off the bat, we need to know what my Wi-Fi device list is. Unfortunately, because I'm on a virtual machine, I don't have like a capture card yet. So I can't, I don't know how to install that. I wish I could install this like right on bare hardware. Right at the moment I can't. So, but if I type device list, and then I type device list, but correctly this time, it brings up this. Now let me, mouse integration. So right here, you guys should have some sort of devices. Traditionally in the past for me, it always says something along the lines of WLAN 0, or what I end up calling Wayland. Although I should probably stop doing that. So get your name, and you should see over here that it is powered on. If not, this is where you're going to need to start reading some of the stuff like this. Then we're going to go here. Oh dear, I have screwed it up. Shut that off. So now we can see back up on the station, back up in the black screen. If we read up through there, it lists a whole bunch of commands like station list and stuff like that. We're going to want to start by station, and then whatever the name of our device was. So like WLAN 0 might be what it is for you. And then show, or excuse me, scan. and it should give you a whole list of Wi-Fi. Not, well, actually, I'm not going to show you what my Wi-Fi is. Not unlike what your Wi-Fi would be when you're connecting. You know, if you were to connect to Wi-Fi, you'd get a whole list. You should see something similar there. From that point, you would say maybe you would say station, station Wayland 0 connect. Oh, you need to get I made a mistake. Forgive me. Scanning activates the scan. Get network will give you the list. Those two things are separate. Hopefully, someday I will be able to physically show you WLAN 0 or whatever, again, whatever this device name was. I keep trying to point at my screen. It doesn't help you guys. Connect. And then whatever the name of your Wi-Fi is. So it might be like, I don't know, FBI underscore van or whatever your Wi-Fi is, home Wi-Fi, home, I don't know, something. You whatever you connect to your Wi-Fi on your phone, that should be the name that you're looking at. So example. And then it will ask you for it should ask you for your password, and then you enter your password. That should be that. At that point in time, you can Control C, leave IWD, and ping archlinux.org. And as we can see here, we're getting 64 bytes of information from ArchLinux, which means we have internet. On to the fun part. For this demonstration, I'm going to kind of show the easy way to do ArchLinux, and that is sudo, so that gives us administration control. Pacman, so that is our package manager, that's where we get all of our software from. -s and the sy Archinstall. And we are going to say yes, we want to proceed with the installation, and that's that. Then we just type in Archinstall, and we're good to go. Now up here, I'm kind of going with, well, change your language if you want. We're going to leave mirrors the same in this particular instance. However, if you're in some other country, which I know it happens, you may want to switch these. I've never had to, but that's also because I've never installed Linux in another country. I will say, though, I have had to switch mirrors from Iceland to American servers because I have a server in Iceland. So it does happen. It's not too difficult, and if you look it up online, at best, that's kind of what I have to recommend. Disk configuration, I would partition. I'm going to use best effort, but default partitioning. You may need to manually partition if you are trying to dual boot or something. Right now, I'm happy with this. We're just going to use all of the space. I'm going to go with BTRFS. As far as I know, it is the best file system that can be integrated with a program called Time System, I believe. Timeshift. That's what it's called, Timeshift. And it's a good backup program. And from what I understand, BTRFS is a good file system for backing up and integrates well with Timeshift. Sure. And yeah, we'll use compression. I know eventually I'll have to redo this tutorial, but for disk encryption, I'm not going to encrypt. If you would like to password encrypt your hard drive, it is recommended. We are going to rename this as, we're just going to rename this as dope soap. And we're going to have the root password, set it to whatever makes you happy. And I'm going to add a user. The username is going to be dope soap. Going to have ourselves another password. Do I want to be a sudo user? Yes, I do. Confirm and exit. Profiles. Type. Alright, so if you wanted to pre-install some of this stuff, you can. I have had issues with it in the past, so I just go with minimal. I'm also not going to install an audio server right at the moment. However, you can choose between Pipewire and Pulse Audio. If you look up online, it is highly contentious on which one is better. Pipewire is newer. Some people say it's unstable. Pulse Audio, some people say it's full of bloat and it's also unstable. Personally, what I've been using is Pipewire, and I've been trying to work with Jack. Jack is another audio server, and I've been trying to get Linux audio, especially the microphone, to record at a quality equal to, if not greater than, Microsoft. I haven't figured out how to do that, but I stick with Pipewire. However, in this particular demonstration, I'm going to go with no audio server. Definitely go with whatever you pick, whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm not going to do any additional packages. I've heard that that can lead to instability. Not sure if I buy that, but I choose not to. Time zone. I stick with UTC. From what I understand, UTC, it is, I don't know, like something about if you stick with UTC, when you dual boot back and forth, which I tend to do a lot, it will always stay like the same time zone. Whereas if I switch to some of the other ones, I've had issues in the past. I've had issues in the past where it'll just lose time when I go back and forth. I've noticed it definitely more on Windows than Linux, but I just kind of stick everything on UTC. But you can pick your, if you choose to do so, you can pick whatever city is closest to you. So like Fort Wayne or Denver, Detroit, whatever city's closest to you, whatever city's in your time zone. That's what you would go with. Again, personally, I stick with UTC. Optional repositories. I personally pick multilib. However, perhaps in this particular tutorial, I will not pick multilib. That way I have to install it later, and I can create a different video that's more specialized for people who need it. I can just kind of call it how to activate multilib. All this can be found on the Wikipedia, but sometimes videos are better. We're going to save, or we're going to install all this. Press enter to continue. It'll start the countdown. And away we go. I will be back when this is done. This should work. You shouldn't really have to click anything else until I come back to you. Maybe I'll come back to you. Maybe I will troubleshoot. All right. So as we can see here, I am done with the installation. And I would assume if you have played the video, you are also done with the installation. You can choose to shroot into the into your installation. Right now, ArchLinux is installed on your system. If you would like to go into it through the installation media, you can press yes, and you can kind of, it's as if, in fact, we can just do that. All right, so see, we're in there. If I press ls, let's go cd home, I believe it is. Yeah. So this is my kind of home directory. There you go. If you were to press LSA when we get into the operating system officially, this is the profiles we're going to see, and we can create something like a make dir test. There we go. So that's the test file. This is just to kind of show that if you need to add users or make somebody an admin or change passwords or any other stuff, you can do that by shrooting in to your system. That being said, I don't need to do that, so we are going to power off and then realize I screwed it up. Oh, maybe I need to leave. There we go. Now power off. Okay. With that done, I'm going to double check. It should be, okay, so this is my ISO. I'm just going to make sure that I eject this because I don't want to go back into the installation media. It shouldn't take me back into the installation media, but I just want to be safe. So again, that's storage. You go to the controller and you remove your disk. Press start, and this should bring us all right. Excellent. So, dope soap, that's our username. I typed that in. Don't know why I tabbed. And then typed in my password. Realize I got it wrong. All right, there we go. We are in our account now. And if I type ls, we can see that test file that we made right there. That's just to show that when we were in that installation media, when we went to shroot in, we were really in this account. But now that was just a demonstration. I'm going to remove that. There we go. All right. If you control L, that'll clear everything that you don't want to see. We're going to start by installing some stuff. and updating. We're going to get git, we're going to get vim, we're going to get a program called cargo. That is a dependency for another program we're going to grab. So do I need anything else? Oh, we're going to get, actually there's a whole list. What am I even doing? I have a program somewhere, or a document somewhere around here. Let me find that. I just realized that was on my other system. We'll just do this the manual way, that way you guys can see too. So if we go to the wiki, we go to the installation guide, and we scroll all the way down to the bottom, we can see list of applications and general recommendations. You also can see the general recommendations and list of applications from the main page, but I just want to show you that these are kind of one right after the next. I'm going to go to general recommendations. I think that's where this is. Yeah, here we are. Graphical user interfaces. Specifically, desktop environments, window managers, stuff like that. Things that give this desktop that we've or this computer that we've installed gives it a picture. So we're going to aim for KDE. I like KDE. It's a solid all-rounder, and we can choose between installing Plasma Meta or Plasma as a group. If you install Plasma Meta, it installs all the packages inside Plasma Meta, but you can't, and when you update it, it installs the Plasma Meta as a whole, but you can't uninstall the individual pieces. If you choose to do the Plasma group, you can uninstall the individual pieces. There's pros and cons. I would recommend you do your research on picking your own personal preference, but I have chosen to go with Plasma Meta for myself. So we're going to come over here. We're going to install Plasma-Meta. And then we're also going to want, so when we open up Plasma Meta, that will show us all the things that are included in this. Blue Devil, I believe, is a Bluetooth thing. Discover installs, it's like a graphical user interface for installing Flatpaks. But the point that I'm trying to show in here is there is no terminal and there is no file manager. Now, while I personally don't believe it's mandatory to have a file manager, it is nice. So I am going to install Dolphin, which is KDE's kind of default file manager, and I'm also going to install Console, which is KDE's default terminal. I'm also going to install SDDM, which is the logon, or they call it the display manager. It's where you log on. And so all I need for that is the SDDM package. I believe the SDDM KMC is already installed with Plasma Meta, so we don't need to install that. And that should be good. So let's get that to cooking. And we will be back in a moment when all of that is finished. Oh shoot, we're gonna just stick with Rust. I like FFmpeg more because it's familiar to me. It's not that I really have anything against GStreamer, I just don't know anything about it, so I stick with FFmpeg. Here is jack and jack 2. I'm gonna go with pipewire jack because I think that's useful for some audio stuff later on. We may end up installing jack anyways. And yes, we want all that. All right, I will be back in a moment. Maybe. All right, with all that stuff installed, we should be ready to get into the system. Now, if you wanted to, we could just type in this command. Because we didn't install any kind of X11 programs, we're going to be running by Wayland as default. Wayland is what will put the picture on the screen. But we need to tell Wayland to get the picture or where to find the picture to put it on the screen. And in this instance, we could enter this, but we really don't want to do that every single time we install the computer. Now, if we look up here, select Plasma Wayland to launch a new session in Wayland. We get this from the display manager, which was SDDM. This is convenient. It's actually skipping a step comparatively to X11. So we go to SDDM and we need to get SDDM to start at boot. So we click on this link and we need to enable the appropriate systemd services. So I go sudo system control enable sddm.service. That's just what I found right here. Enable sddm service. We enter that. It wants my password. All right, that is started. That should be it, I believe. Let's give that a shot. I think what is it? Log off? Log out. There we go. Nope, that was not it. Let me be right back with you. That way you have a more smooth video. I realized we just need to restart the system and that should get us up and running. Because we need to boot into SDDM, which is even before the login. All right. So now we're in our system. So this should boot us right. Yeah, we can see up in this corner, we're in Plasma Wayland, not X11. We want to keep it on Plasma Wayland. Let me log in real quick. Not going to let you see that. All right, and we are in. We have our brand new KDE desktop. We should have any kind of, we should have Dolphin installed. We have Vim installed. And if we're looking through here, we should have console installed, which is all excellent. That's all the stuff we installed. So now we can kind of do whatever we would like. And I think that'll be the end of today. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, where I can improve. Obviously, I know quite a few places I can improve. This was a little bit more skippy. I was skipping around a little more than I wanted to. So definitely want to make it smoother, but still want to hear what you think. Thanks again, and bye-bye.